Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Before we get started, if you have your cell phone, please be sure it is meditating along with the rest of us during the service. And if you can, stand up and sing loudly, Spirit-Led, Spirit-Fed. I'm spirit-led, spirit-fed, everywhere and always I am spirit-led. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed, everywhere and always I am spirit-led. Flowing like a river of peace, I am nature's wandering child. Love cannot be added to me, I am made complete. In the divine, I am spirit-led, spirit-fed, everywhere and always I am spirit-led. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed, everywhere and always I am spirit-led. There's magic in every day, like a beautiful song. And as we're choosing our way, there's a voice inside to guide us along. We are spirit-led, spirit-fed, everywhere and always we are spirit-led. We are spirit-led, spirit-fed, everywhere and always we are spirit-led. We are spirit-led, spirit-fed, everywhere and always we are spirit-led. We are spirit-led, spirit-fed, everywhere and always we are spirit-led. Everywhere and always we are spirit-led. Everywhere and always we are
Woohoo! Good morning, y'all.
Good
You
morning.
can sit if you like. It is so wonderful to be in global weirding because we're going to have 60 degrees today here in North Carolina in December. It works for me. Anyways, it is a beautiful day, and I am so glad you all are part of this, including those of you on live stream. And as Pat Webster, our wonderful team member from the Future Ministers team, lights the divine light, would you join me in our invocation, which is on the beige order of service sheet if you have it, or it's coming up on the screen. And let's really say that and feel that together. Together, there is only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life. God the good omnipotence. And just feel that. And isn't it just wonderful to be with that? It is so good to have all of you, all y'all, as Pete Bikes likes to say. And unfortunately, our family that we were going to have today doing the Advent candles isn't here, so you're going to have to just allow me to morph into different pieces of family as I do this for them. So if you remember last week, we started this. We also started Hanukkah, which started last week as well, which has followed its way through. But we lit the first candle, which represents faith. And as we light that, we open to the possibilities of tremendous good, the possibility of heaven on earth in this present moment. And our next candle is representing peace. Deep peace comes from knowing the eternal presence within us and within everyone. Each day, a step on our soul's journey every day is a step on our soul's journey toward awakening, including my tongue. Each present moment brings us closer to that deep well of inner peace. We envision the world awakening to this peace. In Luke chapter 2, the angels said, "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace and goodwill to all." And with that, we'll go into meditation.
I surrender. I trust and I know as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. I surrender. I trust and I know as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. I fall into the arms of love.
As we prepare ourselves for this time of meditation, if you would just relax, remove anything from your laps or your hands that doesn't need to be there. Just allow whatever is supporting you to fully support you. Receive that. Close your eyes if it's comfortable, or gaze softly down. And just allow my words to move you into a deeper awareness. Feel your body. Feel whatever connecting point from whatever's supporting you, perhaps a chair, a bed, a sofa, whatever that is. And feel how that transmits its support into you. Feel how it is just doing its beingness. It isn't trying to figure something out. It isn't trying to be something else. It is just being. And likewise, every last cell of your body has this same being quality. Some might even call it life. And there is a divine orchestration that allows those trillions of cells that comprise your body to work in an orchestrated manner that makes breathing, thinking, living, sleeping, heart beating, circulation, and so many more things automatic, happening at the right moment, the right time, in the right place. Just feel that orchestration, that essence that is all working for you in this moment, now. Feel your breathing. Just observe it coming in and out. And the pauses at the top and the bottom of the breath. Feel how that moves through your entire being and amplifies your existence. Just allow yourself to follow your breath in, out, and beyond. Allow yourself to just be with this cycle, this automatic cycle that is yours, yet shared with every last creature on this planet, plants included. And just allow that to happen and be in the silence. from this space of expanded awareness, allow yourself to continue focusing on your breath, but also realize that that breath is shared with all on this planet. When I mean all, down to the very last molecules that you are breathing. If there are any people, situations, places, that from your current perspective don't yet feel aligned with that shared breath, that oneness, that peace, that essence that is coursing through you in this moment, just softly call their names aloud, inviting them in to this sea that is already surrounding them. All of these, and so many more not yet named, have been blessed and have been invited, brought closer to this realization that they truly are of the same divine fabric and this essence that we all share. Thank you. Allow yourself to bring your body into this expanded awareness so that you can merge and coalesce your physical and expanded awareness together. And if you like, you can open your eyes, stretch a little bit, being mindful of anybody or anything that might be nearby, so keep it a non-contact sport. And when you are ready, look at least 2 divine beings that are near you. For those of you live streaming, that's fine. But there are so many options on the divine beings, be they human or not human. All right. So with that, would you join me in our vision and mission, which is on the program, or it's on the order of service, whichever you have handy, or on the screen if you're streaming. And let's really say that together and feel it. Together, we envision the divine light awakening in all. Our mission, we center in peace and love. We connect in our hearts with others. We celebrate our journey towards wholeness, and we empower others to experience their spiritual magnificence. And so it is. And now it is my pleasure to bring up Alex and Leland.
Thank you, Chris.
Yes.
It was wonderful to be here. And yes, the weather is amazingly been holding out. Good. This old tasting, yes. Alto recorder. I was once on a train going from Cairo to Aswan, southern Egypt, and I heard it, on the train a bamboo flute player, and I invited him into my compartment, and we played for about a half hour. He spoke Arabic, and I spoke English, and yet we played. And I came away with this melody that I'm going to share with you. It actually is, it's one of the songs from our Beautiful Melody CD that I put some out in the back available since Christmas is coming up, and Hanukkah, of course. Yula, manifesting it.
Thank you. From Egypt to here. Yes, the music travels. L'chaim, to life, to life, to life, l'chaim. It takes a solstice to make us say, let's live another day. L'chaim, to life. That's the topic today. Life is one of our 12 powers. So what is it? Let's start with this amazing miracle that we get to be here alive on this planet Earth, our souls embodied in this space costume, space capsule, so that we can live on planet Earth and enjoy all of these sensory experiences, touch, smell, our hearing, our feeling. Wow, let's start with that's blessing. So that it's an opportunity to love and evolve and experience joy. And if you believe in reincarnation, it's a time to enter this classroom and learn what we need to learn for the evolution of our soul so that we live more and more from that place of God consciousness. What else is life? Join me in an experiment. Rub your hands together like this, and then spread them about a foot apart. And you may want to close your eyes so you can focus, but slowly start bringing your hands together and see if you can discern a time when you feel a little bit more heat, little resistance in that space between your hands. When you have it, open your eyes so I will know. Got it? Got it? That's life. Life energy. If we break down any object, living or dead, we find out that in the spaces between the smallest particles of every atom, that energy is buzzing. That power is God energy. How does it express itself? First, it's what animates us. Look back at your life for, say, 20 years ago. What were you doing 20 years ago? Where were you in your growth? 10 years ago? 5 years ago? Now, how have you grown during those years? What were the things that occurred to you, that stirred in you, that animated you to say, yes, life, yes, that's my next step? If anybody had told me 5 years ago that when I stepped into this community 3 years ago, I'd be home, which I'd never heard of this community, I'd be home, and then on the future ministers team, I would have said, get out of here. But when I came to that first meeting, that first annual meeting 3 years ago, when Reverend Rosemary talked about the future ministers team, this animating thing in my heart just started stirring. And how about a few of you? Tell me some yes moments that have been important in your life. Oh gosh. Maria, what's your latest one?
When I think about this community, I think of the moment that Judy Moore called me and asked me if I would be on the board.
There
And
you
my
go.
thought was, oh no,
Right,
oh don't do that.
right.
Yeah.
And yet something said yes. Something said yes.
Can you repeat that? So
They,
the live stream, they can't hear Maria.
oh, yes. So for those of you who are watching online, Maria said it was when she got called by one of our former community members to be on the board. And her first impulse was, oh no. That's another way we know we're being invited to a big thing, because our first thing is, no. Yeah. And then, but something compelled her to say yes, to bring her gifts and her wisdom forward in that way.
And just to finish, and it's been one of the richest experiences.
And she says it's been one of the richest experiences of her life. There you go. Anybody else want to share? Yes, Alex.
It was a little over 20 years ago I first met Leland.
Ah.
There was no doubt about it. I wanted it.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't hesitant. It was like, oh yes.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is something that we need to explore.
Yeah, so Alex is saying 20 years ago he met Leland, and it was an instant yes. Great. Those are good examples. And, there's a difference between an impulse and that animation. Because the impulse, at least for me, and I've had to spend some time figuring this out after some impulses that were different than animation that got me somewhere I didn't like. So the impulse is fast and comes without a lot of thought, whereas the animation comes, there's a grounded feeling that comes with it, and it doesn't go away. It persists. Okay? So that life energy is what drives our evolving and our growing and our becoming more complex and more interesting and, again, growing that soul on this earth, if you believe in repeated lifetimes where we're growing and growing. What else is our life power? It's our wholeness. Our wholeness. Not just our physical body, but we can draw on the wholeness of divine life for healing our body, regardless of how we appear. Wholeness is a quality on the inside. To illustrate this, let's look at Stephen Hawking. How many of you know of him? Quite a few. He was a theoretical physicist, cosmologist. I can hardly even think about a cosmologist, an author, who at the time of his death held a powerful position at the prestigious University of Cambridge, England. There was a movie about him a few years back called The Theory of Everything. I think it's on Netflix now. During his late teens and early 20s, he was diagnosed with ALS, that disease that gradually paralyzes all the voluntary muscles. So at the end of his life, he was paralyzed from the neck down, and he did these complex theoretical physics equations with a pencil in his mouth. And in case you think some physical limitation may keep you from marriage, he had 2 wives. The first one, he married, I think he met her in college or graduate school, and she married him despite her parents' don't do it strong objections. And they had a good long run of it, and then they divorced, and there was a second marriage. So he was compelling because of that wholeness, that vitality from the inside of him. It goes down in the field of cosmological physics as a major advancer in that field. Would we call him less than whole? I don't think so. Vitality is our capacity to wield life energy, no matter what our body looks like. Have you known people who are debilitated or maybe even on their deathbed and there's still a glow coming from the inside? That's life. A third characteristic of life is presence. Remember when you felt that vibration between your hands? Have you ever been in a room with your back turned to the door and somebody silently enters the room and you can feel their presence? You know they're there? Yeah. That's also life, that vibrational energy. And death doesn't take it. Physics teaches us that energy is neither created nor destroyed. Now, when our bodies die, the energy from our physical bodies goes into the dirt and gets made into flowers, and then animals eat it, and it becomes an animal, and, so on. So it has its own energy cycle. But that energy that's our soul never dies. And research is telling us and that energy can be felt across distances. We don't have to be physically together. Somebody doesn't have to physically walk in a room, which is really good because we're doing such online stuff now. I have a friend, Laurie, who studied with Barbara Brennan. People know her? So Barbara Brennan was a NASA physicist, and she was part of government experiments, and this was a long time ago, and this was kept under wraps for a while because it seemed kind of woo-woo, and the government doesn't tell us when they're experimenting with woo-woo stuff. So she found out, they were studying how if they focused on and brought their presence to the energy bodies around dead planets, that things would change physically on the planets. So she thought, well, if we can do this with planets, why can't we do this with the human body? So she started a now internationally famous energy school of healing. My friend Laurie went there and became a teacher and now practices it, and often does her healing by long distance over the phone or on Zoom, as does our shaman members, Oswaldo and Chris Guy. Research about sick people came out a couple of decades ago, that when we bring their presence to them through prayer, when they don't even know we're praying for them, they heal better. Statistical data, more quick return to normal blood lab levels, quicker wound healing, quicker return to health. So that presence, the people that we named during that meditation this morning, conscious or not, something stirred in them. We inherit that energy from the divine, from God, from spirit, from whatever you want to call it, from the Akashic field. That consciousness that lives inside each of us and also lives everywhere. And we are an individual, as Chris Eagle brought out in the meditation this morning, we're an individual, unique expression of the divine. It's like a snowflake, the same source, but in all the years of snow on the planet, no two snowflakes are alike. So we are the unique, individuated manifestation of that life energy. Think about that energy again, that energy. Now, God doesn't give us that energy and say, well, here's how your life is going to go. You're going to grow up to be a neurosurgeon, or you're going to grow up to be an artist or a musician, or you're going to grow up to be the most conscious, serviceable garbage collector. No, God doesn't do that. Sure, we might be born with embedded talents and potential. Leland and Alex and Andres and Chris, they got the music gene. Not in my wheelhouse. I seem to have gotten the talking gene. Think about some of the innate things with which you were born. What are some of your innate talents? Maria has the healing talent and the organizational and the leadership talent. Chris has techno talent and meditation talent. What are your unique talents? So he doesn't give these talents, God doesn't give us these talents give us this power with the specific spells out. It's ours to hold, to do with, to develop as we choose. Just this big ball of life energy to grow and use it, or not. We don't have to. Their choice. And some people choose to use that energy for ways that aren't so useful. It's our choice. So what do you choose to do? In Mary Oliver's words, the poet Mary Oliver, tell me, what do you plan to do with your one wild, precious life? Now, it's interesting we should be talking about our life during this time of year. Look outside, the trees look dead. They don't look so lively. So what's the story with the trees? Well, they've indeed shed their leaves for this year. They've shed the parts of them that had their time in the life of the tree. What in your life has it been time to shed, or is it time to shed? My gosh, when it was time for me to stop sailing, it took me 3 years to realize that time's over, and to move on to other things. Thought it was going to last forever when I was in the middle of doing it. Then my body told me otherwise. My age told me otherwise. What parts of your life might it be time to shed in the service of something new and blooming? Because let's look what happens to that wonderful, life-giving sap in the trees that drains in the wintertime right now in this season. All that sap is drained out of the twigs, out of the branches, out of the trunk, and goes down into the ground, down to the cold and the dark, to be held in the arms of grandmother. In fact, it's a time of rest, a time of quiet, a time of incubation. And this is the time of year where the days get shorter and the nights are longer, that we move toward the solstice on the 21st, the darkest night of the year, when there's more dark than light. There are many myths about the solstice. The one that I love is that on the night of the solstice, Mother Earth has completed a whole cycle around her lover, the sun. And because we know that that cycle is a little bit oval, it's on the farthest part of that oval. That's the farthest away from the sun. And not only that, she's tipped away from the sun on her axis. She's cold. She's tired. She's lonely. It's been a while since she's been on that part of the orbit where she gets these passionate kisses from her lover, the sun. So this is the night where she says, will I go around one more time? Will I go around one more time? And so far, she said yes every time. So in reality, though it doesn't seem that way, on the darkest night of the year, when she decides, okay, let's go, it's also the beginning of the journey back towards spring on that night, on that darkest night. So what is the life that's incubating in you? Something new in you that is waiting to bloom. Is it your health? Is it a relationship? Financial abundance? A platform, a larger platform for your talents? Community? Friendship? Peace? What is it? So I have a gift for you that the ushers are now going to pass around, and we're going to do a little meditation. So as soon as you receive your gift, I invite you to just let yourself sink into a meditative space. If you're watching online, get or imagine the flower bulb that we talked about. So I invite you to look at this bulb through soft eyes, not totally closed, but very softly opened. And let your eyes fall on the skin on the outside of the bulb. That skin. Paul Hasselbeck says that sometimes we think we're bad inside, so we put a made-up part on the outside. But there's no bad part inside of us. There's the flowering, the blooming of God inside us. So this shell can be like the outer cover, the outer face we can put onto the world, but inside who we really are is beautiful. It's a flower. Or thinking it another way, this outer shell is something that protects the flower inside until it's ready to fall away. What shell are you preparing to release that you may not need anymore, or you won't need more anymore sometime soon? What is the flower in your life that is saying yes, animating you, wants to bloom? The flower that is incubating in the earth of your soul right now, in the soil of your soul. Those two words have similar root meanings: soil, soul. That like the sap, or like this bulb, will be held in the loving arms of your soul until it is time to bloom. Let you know what that flower of your soul is, or the blooming, the animation, a next step in your life. What life is calling to you? What life is calling to you? And if you will, ask this bulb to hold that dream. To hold that dream, the new life that is waiting to bloom. And know that it is so. Know that it is so. And opening the eyes more fully, returning to the fullness of this room and this community of budding, blooming flowers, God seeds we all are. I invite you to go home and plant this bulb. People like me need to put this rooty side down. And if you live in an apartment, you can plant it in a container on your porch. Just has to go through a cycle of cold, even frozen. I'm not going to tell you what kind or color of flower it is, because a beautiful surprise is going to await you in the springtime. And so may it be with some new life that is waiting to bloom in you. Thank you.
We're here on planet no name. We're just going to collaborate and share this instrument and the drums together, because that's what we do for now over 20 years. Collaborate. This instrument comes from, originally, it's a Mali instrument, 12th century. And at that time, Mali was a vast empire, and mostly Mandi-speaking people. And this is just one of the many instruments that come out of that region. And it's still played today.
All right, let's do it.
All right, I just have to switch from talk. I can't talk like that. I'm not a natural with the.
It's okay, Alex. You got the music. Just play.
Shut up and play. All right.
Thank you, Alex and Leland. So I'm going to tie two things together. One is when Pat was talking about knowing that yes in life and that piece of it doesn't go away, it persists, whatever that yes is, versus the impulse is in the moment, not thinking, takes off. So something that Alex said when he was describing this instrument from Mali was that it was on a whim, but the whim didn't go away. You acted on it. And something that I've noticed with musicians, and I have a little of that background as well, and I've certainly seen it in Chris and Andres and Alex and Leland, is that improv or improvisation has those wins, those yeses. And as you saw, and as it was described, is this wasn't a set piece, yet it came to be because they answered the yeses. So thank you. Yeah. Well, when it shows up in light and sound, it's hard to ignore. So thank you, Alex and Leela. So now is the point in our service where we get to have a yes collectively. And that is one of the sacred exchanges that we have in this community is through giving. And this community is a tithing community, meaning that it gives out 10% of what it brings in, moving out specifically for those things that spiritually feed and also help our local neighbors. So that all is happening as part of the orchestration of Unity Center of Peace. And when you give, you're supporting that. Not only that, but you're also supporting what is happening on Sunday and all of the other things that happen, which I will get to in the announcements, specifically for this time around. But what I want you to realize is that you are giving that love, that yes, that Pat was speaking of so eloquently earlier with her gift of talk. The funny thing is, you can always have somebody who says, oh, they talk too much. It's like, no, but that is their gift. That's what they're giving. So likewise, when you're giving, whatever that amount is, and there are various ways of doing it. If you're a conscious sustainer here, you can use this green card. There's many ways in the program, on screen, all of that. But the key is that you're in that gift. Because by being you in that gift, you are expanding you and your yeses. Would you join me in our blessing, which is on the order of service if you're in person, or on screen if you're live streaming? And let's really dive into that. And now that I've talked too much, my memory is not serving. Okay, I just needed the starting point. Improv, whee! All right. Together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am.
Happy, I'm joyful, I am fulfilled. I'm happy, I'm joyful, I am fulfilled. I'm aware of all my blessings, so much good I can't sit still. I'm happy, I'm joyful, I am fulfilled. I'm happy, I'm joyful, I am fulfilled. I'm happy, I'm joyful, I am fulfilled. I'm aware of all my blessings, so much good I can't
I don't know what the
sit
picture's
still.
on.
Happy, I'm joyful, I am happy, I'm joyful, I am fulfilled. I'm aware of all my blessings, so much peace I can't sit still. I'm happy, I'm joyful, I am.
All right. Well, with all of that vim and vigor, I want you to take those hands, aim at these bowls, whether you're live streaming or not, and really feel with me this energy, this collected energy, this orchestration of our gifts, and how they are moving out through this entire planet, through the economy, through other people's individual lives, blessing and multiplying in their wake, and coming full circle back to the giver so they can go through again and again and again in amplifying ways. And so it is. All right. Do we have anyone here that is new for the first time? Oh, yes, we have one in the back. And if you're live streaming and you're new, if you would put yourself in the chat so that Debbie can recognize you, our wonderful Facebook host, live stream host. So what we have, if you're online or live, is we've got a little card that goes through, just get your basic information, but we also have a gift when you fill that out and return it to myself or one of the greeters. And we're just so blessed to have you here. So thank you. Thank you for showing up. All right. Alex and Leland, would you bless us another time?
It's not just Leland and I this time. We're collaborating with the fine musicians that come. Andres on drums, Chris Whiteneck on piano. We're doing a little collaboration. We're going to close with a spiritual, probably written in not the 12th century, but the mid-1800s. It's one of those songs that could be a spiritual or a folk song, depending on how you want to approach it.
Thank you, Alex, Leland, Chris, and Andres. Whew. See, these yeses keep multiplying. So there's this thing that we do every month because it is the beginning of the month, which could be considered a spiritual, I guess, in some sense. But what we love to do before we get to that spiritual is honor anybody who has a birthday in December. Ooh, Leland. Yay, we've got a number, and if you're online, you can put it in. And let us sing this spiritual that we all know from way down.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear December. Happy birthday to you.
All right, and for those of you who are live, we will have some treats afterwards to help celebrate that. So thank you all for being born. You have made a difference. You don't have to wait to be making a difference. You've already done it. So you can check that off if it's on your list. So I want to give you the results. If you remember last month, we had our GoFundMe campaign, put UCP back in the black. And I want to say that we successfully raised 44% of that. So thank you. Everything counts. Also, for those of you that this holiday season sometimes brings some stress and unease and anxiety. And if you have that, or if you know of friends that might have that, one of our beloved people of the community, Alt Nathaniels, who is a life coach, PhD, among other storied things that he has brought through in his life, is holding a Zoom call on Tuesday evenings. It started November 30th and will go through December 28th. If you're seeing it, you have it in your program if you're in person, live stream, you can see it on there. But there are many shoulds and all of that that come along with holidays and how they're supposed to happen and all of that. And if you're having any trouble with that, by all means, tune into that, and it's a way of finding a different way to be with that. Harkening back to Pat's talk, there's some impulses that could be shifted for some yeses, and that's a means to do that. We also, for this season, have a holiday giving tree. Now, I'm guessing for the live streamers, you're seeing some image of that, but for us physically here, it is right outside in the foyer. And if you are called, we are supporting families and also seniors in the area. And there are little ornaments. I think they're all angels. There might be a couple of different shapes on there. But if you're called to do that, there's instructions out there. You take the angel. There's also a sheet that if you would go find whichever one you picked, just so we have a record of who's doing that. So it's not the vacuum ate the angel and we need to make another one, that kind of thing. That would be appreciated. If you're live streaming, you can email into the office and tell us what you would like to do with that, to participate in that as well. Okay. And that all leads up to something we've been doing with this is December 24th in the evening, we will have our candle lighting service here and live streaming as well. So mark your calendars. That is at 7 p.m., probably in your program as well. All kinds of other stuff. I'm not going to go through that right now. You can also check us out on social media. If you have a program, you can go to our website. All of that good stuff will get you to the details of all of these things. And finally, we have something that we call the 3-minute miracle, which I might want to rename to the Yes Maker. We have a wonderful prayer team that is trained and steeped in affirmative prayer, and they are so willing to sit with you and pray with you to find those yeses, because there might be something in your head or in your heart that is not aligned with the rest of you. And this is a wonderful opportunity to avail yourself of. Whether you're in person or live streaming, you can email this in. You'll see the details on the screen. And who is our wonderful prayer partner today? Karen Rowe. Thank you. So look for Karen after the service or email in, and we will pray with you. Okay. With that, would you join me in our prayer of protection with our I am statements? If you're in person, it's here, and would you stand up if you're able, so you can really get into it. All right, together, the light of God enthrones us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the light of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.